My main aim with this video is to encourage you to go on your first solo trip and to show you that solo traveling isn't actually that scary. Many people before you have done it and it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself. I'm someone that turns to the internet to see how other people before me have done things, so I hope this video just serves as another valuable resource. I genuinely believe that life is too short to wait for other people to be ready, and you have to seize the opportunities, sometimes by yourself. Hello lovely gals and gents, welcome back to another video. I've been meaning to record this video for the last few months actually, and I did record it twice already, but the lighting and the audio was a bit messed up, so I'm hoping this is the last and final time. With that being said, there might also be a bit of background noise, but bear with me. I think traveling is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Your life is your greatest artwork, and traveling is a really great way of creating moments that turn it into a masterpiece. So if you're having reservations about solo traveling, I just want to remind you that many people before you have done it. If it's possible for them, it's also accessible to you too. So a quick backstory. I started solo traveling because at the time I didn't have anyone to go with. My friends either had other goals in life, or they couldn't go at the time that I wanted to go, or they didn't have the financial means. Whatever reason, I just didn't have people around me that I could go with, and I was just not about to wait around. And I'm really glad that I did start traveling, because fast forward to now, I live on the completely opposite side of the globe to where I grew up, and I've been on so many solo trips, created some amazing memories, met some incredible people, and I've built my confidence and competence in navigating foreign country. Nothing would make you as confident as being in a random person's car at 10 p.m. at night in the middle of Czech Republic with no phone signal, and it's minus 8 degrees outside and it's snowing and you don't have a proper snow jacket. Yeah. My first tip is to start small. If you've never solo traveled before, or you've never traveled in general, whether with your friends or your family, getting on a 14-hour flight to South America for 2 weeks is probably going to be overwhelming to you. Just wait for the car to pass. Yeah, it's probably going to be overwhelming to you. So I would recommend traveling within your country, or even exploring your neighboring towns. There's so much beauty already around you. So go on a weekend getaway. That way you'll get a sense for whether or not you even like being alone. And if something does go wrong, you're not too far from home. So you could always come back. And starting small also looks like doing an organized tour, like a top deck tour or a Kentucky tour. That was what I did initially when I went on my first big solo travel adventure. This is a really good way to do it because the tour companies organize your accommodation, your transportation, and some of the activities, and you still get that sense of independence because you still have to fly over to the country where the tour starts by yourself. But it's just really good because you just get to show up and everything else is taken care of you, and you just go enjoy the city, and you're also with a bunch of other people who are also on their first trip by themselves, or they're in the same headspace as you, so you're just getting drunk for 3 weeks, and it's just really fun, and it just takes away a lot of the planning and the stress. So if you're really young and you've never done a trip or traveled a lot, that's a good way to start. I think initially for me, I did experience a bit of fear around solo traveling, and 2 things that really helped me were, 1, again, knowing other people before me have done it, and 2, planning as much as possible. So if you can identify exactly what it is that is worrying you, I think it will help to eliminate some of the fear. For me, as weird as it sounds, it was actually how I'm going to get from the airport or wherever destination I was to my accommodation. I know that sounds really bizarre. So what I did was I would search on YouTube how to get from Tirana Airport to the city center. And God bless this man, but someone out there has actually made a video that shows you like where to walk from the airport, which bus to get, and it just shows you how much information is available online to help you on your journey. So definitely have that self-awareness of what exactly it is that you're afraid of and solve for that problem. Because if you know what to expect and if you can plan ahead, it will just make your solo travel experience a lot better. My next tip is to stay in hostels. I love staying in hostels. I think staying in hostels is a really great way of solo traveling because the majority of people in the hostels are also solo traveling. So you connect with others and just makes you feel less alone. The hostels themselves usually also organize activities and events. If you don't like the idea of sharing with multiple people, you can book a private suite if you book early enough. I don't think they have many of them available, but if you plan it ahead, you can have your own room, and that way you're still around other people, but you don't have to share your living space. I've stayed in all-female dorms, I've stayed in mixed dorms. I haven't actually stayed in a private suite yet, but I've had great experiences with both. And yeah, it's just a really great way of doing solo travel. Generally, they're cheaper as well. So just make sure you read the reviews because some places are a bit dodgy, but you can get some really nice hostels as well. And yeah, make sure it's not too far away from the city centre. You don't want to be traveling too far from where you'll be exploring. My next tip is on safety. Of course, it's extremely important, but what I want to remind you is that there is an inherent risk with anything, whether you are in your home country, your home city, whether you're in a foreign country, things can go wrong anywhere. So it's important to try and mitigate for these things by making sure you're not doing silly things, like walking home really late at night by yourself, walking home really drunk, or being really drunk somewhere when you're by yourself. Some of the things I do when I'm solo traveling is I try not to arrive really late at night or really early in the morning, just between those hours where it's like really dark and there aren't lots of people around. Always make sure I have a portable charger on me. I'm aware of my battery life. I make my friends and my family aware of where I'm going, what my plan is for that day, or always carry cash on you. I also don't tend to tell people that I'm solo traveling unless I really, really trust them. So I always say that I'm on a business trip or my friends are back at the hostel. I also don't wear overly revealing clothing because that just draws attention. That's just the world we're in. This one is a bit of like an odd one, but don't post on social media when you are at that place and tag the location, because there's been a few times when I've posted something and I'm like in the city and stuff, and there are locals who look out for things like this and they've DM'd me. But luckily, like most of the time when I've posted, it's after I've left that particular location. So just be careful, because obviously the locals, especially if it's a small town, the locals see who's from there. They know who's a tourist, who's not a tourist. And if you're particularly noticeable, like most of the time, I'm usually the only black girl around. So it's very obvious to spot me. So you don't want to be putting yourself in a vulnerable position where these people can target you. The other thing is to make sure that your mobile phone provider actually covers the country that you're traveling in. When I was in Tirana, Albania, I literally had no signal like at all, but luckily I was with a friend, so she had her phone, so we were okay with that. So yeah, buy a local SIM card if you're not sure. Usually you can get them at the airport, and always have cash on you. I can't remember if I already said that, but just in case your phone dies or for some reason your bank blocks you from being able to take money out. If you have cash on you, you can get yourself out of a situation. There's a concept in psychology called the spotlight effect, and it's basically this idea that people think they're being noticed a lot more than they are. And I think when it comes to solo traveling, a lot of people think that they're being judged for being alone. And I think for me in the beginning, this was definitely heightened when I was at a restaurant, like dining alone. That's probably like the only time I ever really experienced it. And what I have to say is, yeah, people might notice you. When you're in a restaurant, you notice someone by yourself, you might notice it, but then thereafter, it's not really that big of a deal. And you just have to sort of get out of your own way and kind of lower your ego a bit. Like, you're not that much of an important person in other people's minds. So if you're really like that bothered by it, then organize like a phone call when you're out eating dinner, or listen to some music or something to distract you. But just know that people don't really care about you as much as you think they do, because everyone else is worried about themselves. Planning. I usually like to compare package holidays to booking everything separately. Generally, it does work out that the package holidays are cheaper. I've used Jet2, TUI, Love Holidays, and I've had great experiences with all of them. They're all Europe or UK based. So have a look in wherever country you are and see if they do anything similar. Skyscanner is a really good website to look for cheap flights or just flights in general. It shows you like all the different travel, what do they call them, travel companies, travel airlines, all that. It shows you like all the flights all on the one page. So definitely recommend that. I usually plan my itinerary before I go, so I will have an Excel spreadsheet of all the things that I'm planning on doing, where I'm staying, what my flight time is, things like that. I send that to my family. One, yeah, for safety, but two, just so when I'm there, I'm making the most of my time there and I don't spend the day trying to figure out like what I should go and do. Usually my trips are 3 to 4 days. Any longer, I've just found is just too much. I usually want to come back home to my routine, but also you don't really need that much. Like most cities only require you like 3 to 4 days. And definitely read Google reviews before you book anything, whether it's a shuttle service or the accommodation. Go to Google, go to most recent and read the reviews, have a look at the photos, see how far away it is from the city center. Again, you don't want to be staying like 10 kilometers out and be paying an egregious amount of money to be traveling back and forth. And when you're reading the Google reviews as well, make sure like you're looking at the important things like, does the aircon work? Are the staff actually friendly? Does the shower work? Like all these things will be in the reviews. So just make sure that yeah, you're reading them because you don't want to be staying somewhere like really dodgy. As far as destinations, I'm going to be honest, not everywhere is welcoming. Like some countries are not accepting of certain minority groups. I haven't necessarily experienced that myself, but I know there are some countries that are like notoriously racist, and yeah, there are some places I've been avoiding going by myself, but the places I've been to so far, I've generally had really good experiences and people have been really friendly. So definitely have a look into which countries are more receptive, because you don't want to be traveling somewhere alone as a woman, as a person of color, as any type of minority and be experiencing prejudice, because that's just going to ruin your experience and you're thousands of miles away from home. So have a look into that, but also don't use it as your leading factor as to why you shouldn't go on a solo trip. I just think you should consider it. So those are some of the tips that I have for you. Again, your journey in this lifetime is to become the most evolved and enriched version of yourself so that you can get to the end and be like, yeah, I did that. I took the opportunities that were presented to me and I made the most out of them. I overcame the obstacles and the fear. If going on a 2-week holiday to the other side of the globe is too much for you, again, definitely recommend starting small, going on a little weekend getaway, but just know that this is something that you can do too. If you have any questions or stories of your own about solo traveling or your solo travel experiences, or you're planning on going somewhere, then let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. That's it from me today. I'll catch you in the next video.